All right, let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a highly strategic briefing crafted specifically for you, enterprise buyers, executives, and leaders who are right in the thick of evaluating high-stakes AI solutions. If you're looking to actually integrate AI into your business architecture without losing sleep over it, this is exactly the explainer you need. We're going to break down what Explainable AI, or XAI, really is and why it's rapidly shifting from a buzzword to an absolute, non-negotiable business necessity.
Let me hit you with a real make-or-break question right out of the gate. This strikes right at the heart of enterprise risk management. Would you honestly bet your company's compliance, your hard-earned reputation, and your bottom line on an algorithm that literally cannot explain its own math? Seriously, in the real world, would you ever trust your most critical business decisions to a black box you can't even audit?
So here's our game plan for this briefing. We're covering 6 main areas: the black box business risk, explainable versus interpretable AI, the illusion of explanations, taming large language models, the regulatory compliance mandate, and wrapping up with building transparent enterprise AI. We'll demystify XAI and show you exactly why transparent models are basically mandatory for your organization today.
Okay, Part 1, the black box business risk. Let's expose the massive liability of opaque AI. Check out this foundational insight from Cynthia Rudin over at Duke University. She totally hits the nail on the head. She warns that trying to explain black box models after the fact, rather than just building models that are interpretable from day one, can actually cause catastrophic harm. So the big takeaway here? Just slapping a makeshift explanation onto a black box isn't just technically weak, it's actively dangerous when you're dealing with high-stakes decisions.
And look, here's exactly why this should matter to you as a buyer. It's the conflict of responsibility. Imagine a vendor sells you this slick, uninterpretable model, and down the line it makes a multi-million-dollar mistake because of some hidden flaw or a hallucination. Guess what? The vendor who profited off that opaque model isn't the one paying the regulatory fine. The liability lands squarely on the enterprise that deployed it. That's you.
Moving on to Section 2, Explainable versus Interpretable AI.
There is a massive, massive difference between what executives often think they're buying and what they actually need to protect themselves. On one hand, you have post hoc explainable AI. This is basically just a separate model taking its best guess at what the original black box is doing. It's a complete approximation. True interpretable AI, though, that is entirely different. It's a model strictly constrained by real domain knowledge. It's inherently transparent and faithful by design. You really can't confuse a post hoc guess with a model where the actual math is 100% visible and verifiable. So what are the concrete benefits of going with true interpretable models for your enterprise? First off, they use something called sparsity. This just means they respect human cognitive limits. They aren't going to overwhelm your auditors with thousands of useless variables. They enforce strict business rules, and honestly, the best part? It completely busts the myth of the accuracy-interpretability trade-off. By using inherently interpretable models, you aren't sacrificing accuracy at all. Instead, you're gaining the superpower to troubleshoot and perfect your data safely.
All right, Section 3, the illusion of explanations. Let's look at some proof.
This is absolutely wild to see in practice, and it shows why relying on those post hoc guesses completely fails us. Saliency maps are a really common way folks try to explain AI vision models. But get this, if you run an image of a Siberian husky through one of these explainers, the AI's explanation for why it thinks it's a dog generates the exact same heat map as its explanation for why it might be a transverse flute. The explanation for a living, breathing animal looks utterly identical to a musical instrument. No way you can trust that, right? Which brings us to a crucial takeaway. Post hoc explanations often just show you where the AI looked, completely missing why it actually made a business decision. I mean, knowing that an algorithm stared really hard at a specific cluster of pixels or a specific data point tells your internal auditor absolutely zero about the actual logic it used to, say, approve a massive loan or greenlight a trade.
Let's jump into Section 4, Taming Large Language Models.
With the absolute explosion of generative AI, the stakes are higher than ever. So how do we bring transparency to these massive ALMs? The cutting edge here is a field called mechanistic interpretability. Simply put, it's the process of reverse engineering a neural network to uncover the actual computational circuits it's using. It's a lot like reverse engineering a competitor's hardware just to find the specific logic boards driving complex behaviors. We're literally peering inside the brain of the LLM.
And the crazy part? We aren't just guessing anymore.
researchers are mapping exact neural circuits to specific functions. We now know exactly which circuits handle things like factual recall or numerical comparison. By mapping these out, we are taking what used to be a messy, tangled black box and turning it into a structured, understandable, and auditable system.
Now, a huge part of taming these LLMs is making sure they aren't just sweet-talking you. Often, an AI will spit out an explanation that sounds super plausible, but it's completely unfaithful to its own underlying math. By using advanced filtering tools like sparse autoencoders, we can actually separate that overlapping neural noise into clear, trackable features. This guarantees the AI's explanation is actually truthful, and it even lets us suppress deceptive reasoning in real time. It's a real game changer.
Section 5. The Regulatory Compliance Mandate. Let's talk about the legal reality.
Let's tie this directly to your risk management strategy, because the clock is literally ticking. Just look at this timeline. The ISO standard, already out. The EU AI Act, it's law. And by August 2026, the Article 50 transparency obligations are going to be fully enforced. Shifting to auditable, transparent AI is no longer just some nice-to-have research goal. It is a strict, non-negotiable legal mandate.
And man, if you're in the financial sector, those regulatory walls are already closing in fast. To survive audits from the SEC, FINRA, the OCC, or the CFPB, you absolutely need mathematical compliance guarantees. Giving them a probabilistic guess from a black box, that simply won't cut it when you're explaining a credit denial or auditing an automated broker. You need verifiable logic, period.
Now, you might be thinking, doesn't all this transparency just slow the AI down and hurt performance? Actually, no way. The data tells a completely different story. Integrating deterministic, symbolic rules into an AI, a process known as iterative validation, can actually boost task performance by a median of 40%. It turns out, forcing an AI to be transparent drastically improves its accuracy and reliability.
Finally, Section 6, Building Transparent Enterprise AI. This brings us to the core solution for your enterprise architecture. How do you actually do this? Through the WhiteBox XAI think tank, hosted natively on Azure. We give you the exact architecture you need to shift away from liability-laden black boxes and move toward verifiable reasoning agents using narrow symbolic AI. By hooking up external knowledge graphs, we knock out hallucinations and ensure the AI's logic aligns perfectly with your business intent. Basically, we take your AI and transform it from an opaque risk into a legally defensible, strategic asset.
I want to leave you with one final thing to chew on as you evaluate your current tech stack. We're living in a world of incredibly strict compliance and massive stakes. True understanding is literally the only currency that matters anymore. So ask yourself, is your organization's AI a strategic asset right now, or is it an unauditable liability just waiting to happen? Are you ready to upgrade to WhiteBox ACI? Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer. We can't wait to help you build AI you can actually trust.